evening, Tottenham fans. Tottenham have a big game versus Everton away on Sunday. And the reason why I say it's a big game, it's a must-win game in my opinion. Only because if you look at the rest of our fixtures, it's going to be a tough run-in, especially because we have to play every 3 days. This is not going to be easy. Everton have had a decent start to the season, but when I looked into them, they haven't had as good a start as I thought, but they're not far off us, to be honest. So the table is pretty close. It's pretty all the points. If you lose a couple of games, you can go into the bottom half. If you win a couple, you can get into the top five. So the table, anybody can beat anybody in this league, and it's proven so. I just saw Sunderland beat Chelsea today as well, which was really fun to see. Sunderland have gone into second place in the Premier League, and that's how anyone can beat anyone. It's crazy. In today's video, I'm going to look at Everton, look at their previous results, I'll probably look at their last 6 results, see how they've been getting on, look at some individual players that might be able to hurt us, talk a little bit about a really bad injury that they've got, which is probably a good thing for us. And also I want to talk a little about Spurs and why Archie Gray and Kolo Muani have to start against Everton. Why they have to. I think it's imperative that these two guys start. And let me just get into it anyway. So if you're new here, just please hit that subscribe button. On the road to 4,000 subscribers. Thank you to everyone that's contributed to the channel. It's really much appreciated. I'm quite active in the comments, so if you've got anything to talk about in today's video, let me know and I'll try and get back to you if I get time. Now, let's look at Everton's last 6 results. Going back as far as the 0-0 draw with Aston Villa. Everton were much the better side in that game as well. Villa were on a poor run of form at the time. I don't think they even scored a goal by this point. And Everton should have won that game but didn't. But that was a draw 0-0. They then went on to lose against Liverpool on the 20th of September. Liverpool themselves were, winning every single game in the last minute. I think they did that against Everton as well. Can't really remember. But that was quite an even game as well. They played Wolves in the EFL Cup 3 days later, but they did rest a lot of players and ended up losing 2-0. They wasn't fully strength, but they did play Wolves earlier on in the season and beat them 3-2, if that gives you any context. Then Everton were home to West Ham, which ended up as a draw. I think that game could have gone either way as well. Everton then had a really good result on the 5th of October at home to Crystal Palace, beating them 2-1, which for me is a very, very good result. Both sides had about 5 big chances, so that game could have gone either way, but it ended up in Everton's points range. So then the last game Everton's played on the 18th of October was against Manchester City, and they lost 2-0, and Manchester City had most of the possession, many chances against them, and really could have been more than 2-0. Everton had a couple of chances themselves, but really it could have been 4 or 5 to Manchester City. But Everton were missing Jack Grealish and I think Jared Brantwaite by then, so there's 2 big players missing there. So all in all, they have, in the last 6 games, they've only won 1 game. So a lot of people were telling me before I even looked, because I just took it for granted that Everton had a really good start to the season. It's been okay. It's not been a bad start to the season. They've had some average teams, really. They haven't had the hardest teams they've played is probably Palace and Manchester City, to be honest. Oh, and Liverpool, I suppose. So it's been pretty tough. Aston Villa, pretty tough game as well. So yeah, they've got 1 win in the last 6. They've lost 3 of them and they've drawn 2 of them. So they're not unbeatable, that's all I'm saying. So that's given me a little bit of confidence looking into that. It's still going to be a very, very tough game, don't get me wrong. So let's look into the individual players. Grealish has got 1 goal and 4 assists so far this season, and obviously he couldn't play against the Man City either, so he could have gained more, but 1 goal, 4 assists is pretty decent for the start of a season. I'm glad Grealish is actually proving Pep wrong. He's doing all right since he's left. But that's exactly the same goals and assists as Kudus. So them two are going to be fighting out to see who can get the goals and assists on Sunday. They've got another dangerous player who is being linked to Spurs, and that's Ndiaye. He's got 3 goals and 1 assist. But which is the same as Richarlison, by the way. But Ndiaye is a much, much better player. And Ndiaye can get the ball, take on 2 or 3 players. He can just make something happen. He makes massive impacts in the game, not just goals and assists. So he's definitely one to watch out for, along with Jack Grealish. You've got Diblin as well, but he's got 0 goals, 0 assists so far. Beto, which this surprised me as well. Beto's only got 1 goal this season, which I thought he would have had more than that, but let's please don't get any more against us. Everton are 13th, but can go equal on points with us if they win. So even though they've had that run of form that I've just mentioned, ours can't be much better because they're only 3 points behind us. So it's very, very tight in this Premier League table at the moment. Very, very tight. Jared Brantford, as I mentioned earlier, is out with a hamstring injury, which is good news for us as he's probably their best defender. But not only that, is he's quite dangerous in our box as well. He scored against us before from a header. I think it was last minute, and I think they beat us because of that. So that's good news for us, but really bad news for them. He's a very important player for them. Everton haven't played in midweek either as well, so again, they've got a whole week to plan, which is going to be against us as well. So hopefully that doesn't play into their hands. David Moyes is a top manager, so he will have a good plan on how to beat us as well. So I really rate David Moyes, I really do. It's going to be a really tough day at the Hill Dickinson Stadium, and that is for sure. Now, Tottenham news is I think Romero is still out. Thomas Frank said he was running on the grass, so I don't think it's going to be too long before he's back. Apparently, he might be back for the Chelsea game, which would be good. Let's hope we don't rush him back for the Chelsea game and he gets injured like last season, because that's exactly what happened last season. Solanke again is running on the grass and training on his own apparently, but it's weird because last week Thomas Frank said Solanke may be available in the squad, and all of a sudden he's out again. This guy just can't stay fit, he really can't. The obvious injuries are to Maddison and Kolo. They're still out, still going to be out for a while. So striker wise, we've got Tell available, Richarlison available, and Muani available. Now Muani must start this game. When he came on against Monaco, he was night and day compared to Richarlison. He absolutely tore it up. He was so good, honestly. It just it might be because Richarlison was so bad that Muani looked so good. That might be the reason. But his touch, his skill, his pace, his awareness, his link-up play was all night and day compared to Richarlison, and he must start against Everton. He caused problems. He made our attack look better instantly. If he can get match sharp, he is going to be a super player. I was reading this article earlier today as well, and Juventus fans love him. They think he's a brilliant player. He was scoring one every 2 games. He was scoring a goal, but not only that, he was making massive impacts in the game as well with his link-up play and his technical ability. So Juventus fans love him. So this guy can be really good, and he must start against Everton. He's got to start. He's got to lead the line. If he can't play the whole game, fair enough, but start this guy. I think he's going to be a good player for us, a very good player. Something we've been missing in the 9 for a while now. Obviously, Tell's available as well. Maybe he might get a start on the left, depending on Odegaard. I'm not sure on Odegaard. I'm not sure if he's going to get a game on the left, because he is holding his ribs in a game against Monaco, so hopefully he's okay. If Odegaard is okay, then he should be starting on the left, because I think when he played against Leeds, I thought he had a decent game. Then he played against Villa, I thought that was an even better game. Then he played Monaco, and that was his best game yet. So he's improving game on game. I just think he needs to keep getting game time, because he's starting to look very, very good. Now, Archie Gray is another one that really needs to start. Archie Gray has played 3 starts this season, and all 3 starts he's played very, very well. I haven't seen him have a bad game yet. Even when he comes on for a cameo, he still plays well. Against Monaco, he was playing out of position at left back, and he was still one of the best players on the pitch. He was overlapping Odegaard to try and get space for Odegaard. Odegaard didn't see him or pass him a lot, but he was getting stuck in. His tackling is spot on. He's a lot stronger now. He's beefed up a bit. He's great on the ball, technical ability. Put him in the number 8, and his progression on the ball, it would be brilliant to see. He would help Xavi out so much. He really would. He would do the dog work for Xavi as well as the passing as well, and have Paulinho behind him, and that would be his safety net. I just think Archie Gray would be excellent in that number 8, and it's really frustrating for me because Frank's playing Bergvall in the 10, and I think Bergvall's actually a very good number 8 as well. But if you're going to play Bergvall in the 10, play Gray in the 8. I think Xavi should start again. I just think you have to play a player into form sometimes. Obviously, if he is still struggling, then bring Bergvall on. But, you know, we could, if Xavi starts clicking and he starts getting things right, Odegaard carries on his progression, Kudos does what Kudos does, and Muani's leading the line, we could have a really good attack, you know, and there's only a couple of months away from Kolo coming back too. And, you know, and Solanke. So I'm not worried about our forward line at the moment. I'm not worried. I think it will click. I think it will come together. We've got good enough players there. There's a lot of people saying none of our players are good enough. There's only 4 good players in our squad. I think that's untrue. I just think that's a knee-jerk reaction when results are not going our way. Wait till we win 2 or 3 on the bounce, and then people will say that every single one of our players is excellent. That's the way it is. Romero's a massive miss at the back, especially for his passing through the lines. And his leadership and basically his defensive abilities as well. But Danso's doing a good job, I think, in covering for him. And that's something we didn't have at the beginning of last season, before January. When Romero and Van der Ven went out, we didn't have a Danso in there. So hoping Danso has another good game. He'll be alongside Van der Ven, so I'm quite happy with that back two there. Spence will be playing again at left back, I suppose, but he needs to work on going forward as well, because he's very, very good defensively, but on that left-hand side, he's only got 1 foot, and it's really hindering him at the moment. Power will be playing right back again, I suppose, and Vicario will be in goal. And Vicario in the last game absolutely earned that 1 point against Monaco by himself. Man of the match, broke records. He's saved so many shots. Let's hope he can keep that form too, and Spurs should be solid going into the game against Everton. We are much better away than we are at home as well. That gives me a little bit more hope. Spurs just seem to set up a lot better, seem to play more counter-attacking football, which seems to suit this team at the moment. So I'm pretty confident. My predictions are so poor. One of my subscribers said to me, every time you predict Spurs to win, they lose. So he said, predict them to lose, then they might win. So I'm going to predict an 8-0 to Everton, and hopefully it's the reverse. Spurs will be okay. They were 6th before the games kicked off today. I think they've dropped down to 7th. We could mathematically go into 3rd, I think, with a victory, or 2nd, depending on results. But that's if Arsenal and Man City both lose, and I doubt that's going to happen. But Spurs are having a decent season, not the best season. There have been some bad performances, there have been some good performances, but that's absolutely normal because Thomas Frank is new. There's some players in the squad that are new. You know, we're still learning a new, different way of playing, and only losing 2 games is not bad at all, in my opinion. So let's hope for a big victory tomorrow. We've got some hard fixtures coming up. I really hope that Spurs... I'm actually looking forward to playing like Chelsea and Arsenal and that, just to see what we can do against these sides now under Thomas Frank, because Arsenal will have to come at us at some point, because they need to win most of their games if they're gonna fight against Manchester City and Liverpool, because those two are gonna come and they're gonna win most weeks. Arsenal will need to win. So if we can contain Arsenal and counter them like we did in that friendly that time, you never know, we could get a result. Big games coming up. Big game on Sunday. Need to get the 3 points. We really do. Let's hope for it. Give me all your predictions in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and come on, you Spurs.